Hello, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jimmy Qualls, and with me as always is our resident football expert, Tate Mathews. Tate, we're in a brand new studio, fresh paint, nice carpet, the whole 9 yards.
This is nice. Too bad it's the same two hosts, the same talent.
That's the only thing that didn't get upgraded,
is
right?
lovely.
It's the only thing that didn't get upgraded. They could have had a new host. Before we get into football, let's talk real quick. This week, the AAA state championship in volleyball has taken place. We have not one but two WCS Sports Conference team actually participating. One is no stranger. Both of them are really not strangers to this, but Brentwood, 92-18 in championship play in TWSAA history, 25 total appearances. Out of those 25 appearances, they had 19 finals.
It's unbelievable. And out of those 19 finals, 12 state championships. Going for their fifth in a row. Actually, I do know this. If she wins, or if they win this, but Coach Campbell is the head coach, she will be tied with Don Frudenthal, the Ezel Harding softball coach, for most state championships. Second most. Charlie Harper from Brentwood Academy has the most. It's either 18 or 19. But he coached cross country and track. Okay. And so that's combined. So she's getting ready. In my opinion, I go with Frudenthal has the most state championships of anybody. If she wins this, she's going to time. It's unbelievable. Now, Rankin, I think, has 12 state championships in football. More than likely, he's probably going to win his 13th this year. So, anyways, that's pretty big company right there.
Big company.
And I would say this year, I don't think she's ever had injuries like she has on this team, and they're still right there. And got to thank the favorite too. So it'll be neat.
Absolutely. 34-6 coming in. They're playing Cleveland in the opening round, who's 33-15. Ravenwood, the other team in there, they also have a state championship in volleyball. 39-6 versus Collierville. They will not see each other until the semis. Let's hope that happens, and then have a chance maybe for an all WCS Sports Conference final. I would not put it past them, those two, to get into the championship.
That'd be pretty neat. And if you've never been, I went last year with you, I think, to the semis. If you haven't been, it's at the Murphy Center in Murfreesboro, correct?
Right.
It's exciting. It's worth your time. I mean, volleyball's an exciting game anyways. When you get to this point in the AAA tournament, it's fun to watch.
Well, Brentwood High School obviously anchored by Logan Eggleston, 6'2" junior, Texas commit, All-American, Team USA participant. The list goes on. The accolades have continued to grow. Last year's AAA state championship MVP. Can anybody stop her? Can anybody stop this team?
I haven't seen them. I don't.
Ravenwood
think so.
has gotten closer each time they've played, but it's going to be a tough
You look
task.
at those, and you look at Ravenwood's record, 39-6. I don't know how many times they saw each other, but at least three.
They've played three. That's right.
So
now they play 4 in the region tournament.
All right. So 4 of their losses. Right? Did they beat Brentwood at all?
No.
Okay. So 4 of those
2 in the
6
regular
losses
season,
are to
1 in
Brentwood.
district championship, 1 in the region championship. So 4 of the 6 have come to Brentwood.
That tells you a lot right there.
So, well, best of luck to both those two teams. Let's hope for an all WCS Sports Conference final. All right, week 8. Now, we are 2 weeks behind. Last week was fall break. We were off last week. We had one game, Independence versus Dixon. Independence, that was right what the doctor ordered. They needed that to get back on the horse. They won that game 49-24. But let's back up a week before that, Tate. Talk about week 8 on October the 6th. Fairview moved to 6-2, 4-0 in region play as they played Harpeth. They beat Harpeth 48-7. It sets up the big game, not this week, but the following week against Cheatham County, who's also undefeated in region play for the championship.
Yep, and they're playing really, really well. Again, we talk about it every week. They're 6-2. We know who those 2 losses are to, and we know we think that if we see Waverly. If we were to see Waverly again, it would be a different outcome. So, they just keep playing really well. 48-7 could have been worse than it was. Darius James is starting to see. I noticed that he got some love from the Tennessean, from top running backs in the mid-state. Also, if they had to pick their Mr. Footballs right now, one of those guys said that he would be there. So he's starting to get a lot of recognition, but it was the usual stat line for him, right around 10 carries, well over 100 yards, close to 200. I mean, the guy is if anybody's playing better than him in 3A right now, I don't know who it is. They are explosive.
Well, Coach Hughes, he's got the most intriguing matchup all week when we start talking about who plays this week. So it's going to be interesting, and it's going to be fun to watch.
But this one doesn't count for –
Doesn't count.
It counts, but not for what they're trying to do.
Centennial, 3-5, 3-1, played Hillsborough. Man, they hit a big speed bump here. They lost 50-10. I don't think anybody kind of foresaw that one coming, particularly after how they played Riverdale. Right. They had some wins coming in, 50-10. Hillsborough's one of those teams, though, that are so dangerous, up and down, up and down. They happen to catch them on an up night.
Without a doubt. And they've been up for a while. They were down at the beginning. There's a couple of, you can't look at their record, and a couple of early losses. Now, one of them's the Brentwood Academy, obviously, no shame in that, but they're a hard team to figure out, but they have been, I think they've won 6 in a row now. And man, they've figured out what they need to do to be good, and they're good. They got a lot of athletes. They got a running back in Jacob Frazier. I saw it up close and personal a few weeks earlier. I watched him rush 34 times for 314 yards. Well, he rushed it 30 times against the Cougars for close to, if not 300 yards. And they got a big line, and they figured out what they need to do is just zone block it and give him the ball and let him go. And, that young offensive line, kind of undersized offensive line that we were talking about before. The Franklin game of Centennials, they kind of got exposed. I think Coach Kreisky feels like they did some things to help them let that score get out of hand. I don't think he feels like the difference in the game was 40 points. But they did get beat physically, but against a really physical team. So
Hillsborough is going to be a tough out in 6A. I mean, really, where are they going to fall?
I think they're 5A.
Or 5A, rather.
Yeah.
Where are they going to fall in that Metro League? Is it them and Cane Ridge? Who's going to win that region?
Well, they're in different regions. Cane Ridge is over with Smyrna and Laverne and Stewart's Creek and Antioch, I believe. So Cane Ridge is going to win that region, hands down, which I know we'll get to it. We're going to see. We're going to see them in first and second round, probably some rematches.
And I apologize. Cane Ridge is 6A.
6A, yeah.
Hillsborough
right.
dropped to 5A from last year. Yeah. So they're going to be a tough out. Either way you look at it. You got to think about Summit in that 5A group, Page in that group, Beach right now over on that other side. It's also undefeated.
I think right now in 5A, especially in the mid-state, you got to talk Summit, Beach, Hillsborough. And none of them are. And they all are going to run the ball. Now, the thing that's a little bit different about it is I think Beach and Summit are kind of closer. They're gonna line up and they're gonna run the ball, but they do it differently. But between Cayman Dunlap of Beach and then Ty Carter of Summit, two of the more breakaway big time running backs in the state, mid-state. The Frazier kid's a great guy, but like I said, he's going to do it too. He's going to gain 200 yards on 30 carries. He's a physical bruising back, but. Those are the 3 and 5 that you got to worry about. 6A, that's Cane Ridge.
Cane Ridge, yeah.
They'll be matching up with us.
With us on there, and it looks like they're going to come in on that one spot. So you want to try to avoid that 4 spot with all you can.
I would think Centennial feels like they're probably going to see them in the first round, which remember they've already seen them once. So
that's getting a little presumptuous, isn't it?
Well, I mean, we'll see. There's a lot that can happen,
and we'll get to that in just a second. There's a whole lot that can happen before then. Brentwood moves to 7-1, 3-1 right now, currently ranked 6th in the 5A poll. They played at Father Ryan, won 42-21. We had a little bit of fool's gold there at halftime, 14-14. It was tied up. Everybody thought, well, here, this Father Ryan team's pretty good. We already got a win over a very close win over Ravenwood.
Right.
But then had 21 unanswered points there in the third quarter to run away with it.
Yep, played really, really well, tied at halftime. And Father Ryan, one thing we know from the Ravenwood game, they can run the ball. And so tie ball game, they came out in the second half and scored 21 points in the third quarter and then 7 in the fourth. So I have not talked to Coach Crawford, but I think he would say that's probably their best half of football that they played all season long, if not one of the best halves. And, they did it when they're playing well. They did it the way they've been doing it. Shacklett, as he's putting up huge numbers from the quarterback position. And the thing I love the most about it, you can count on him in a big game if he plays 4 quarters, going for about 300 yards. And he's spreading it out amongst about 4, 5, 6 receivers, if you count Dreyer as well. So, and then I think it's been a couple weeks, but I think Dreyer got a touchdown in there too, didn't he, in the Father Ryan game? So I love that package. Rushing.
Right.
When they get down on that goal line,
and the Wildcat,
the big fella,
the big
fella's taking it in, and it's a heck of a package.
And here's the thing: is when that happens, okay, let's look at down the road, potential game on the line. They stack the box. What can he do?
Well,
he can also throw.
Oh yeah, without a
So,
doubt.
I mean, it's just not
Tebow-esque.
Right, that's right. So
I just hope he's kind of like Samson. I hope he doesn't cut his hair.
the
I'll
big
be disappointed.
dude. Yeah, he's got the best haircut.
Yeah.
C.J. Grissom, 14 tackles.
He's a stud.
Just keeps on doing his thing. Linebacker from Brentford.
Great wrestler, great football player, tough kid, anchor of the defense, plays sideline to sideline. I mean, I'd take that guy on any program anywhere.
Nolensville, the Knights, 3-5 at Lincoln County, won convincingly 31-17. Do not sleep on the Visor. Do not sleep on the Knights. 2 huge games left. Region championship still on the line. Now, tall task, tall order for them. They're automatically in. Pressure is off of Nolensville, but they still have to play Maplewood, winnable game, and then they can finish up for region championship online. If they beat Maplewood, have to play Marshall County for the championship.
First of all, that you're even talking about that's unbelievable. That just is a credit to Coach Hester, his staff, his kids. But that, like you said, we got a lot of football left to play. But they could, and so as far as the Lincoln County game, now here's a little history for you. We touched on, a lot of people don't know this. We touched on the Coleman, Mac McCurry, the student versus the teacher. Now, Don Thomas is that's Hester's guy. That was his first guy that he worked for under. He cut his teeth for him under Don Thomas at Laverne. And so this was kind of
And took the Marshall County job for 48 hours.
And that's right. No, he took it a little longer than that. Yeah, he did.
Will.
Oh, Will. Yeah,
right.
yes. Yeah. I thought you were talking about Don. But,
No.
So this was probably a tough week on Coach Hester. He's playing his daddy, and he goes down there and he beats him like that. So that was a big win.
It didn't hurt him too bad.
No, it didn't hurt him too bad. I know he was very pleased about that. But I mean, think about it. And I don't care where they are right now. We're talking about a second-year program with no seniors in the building. What'd you say? 8 people that can drive.
Yeah.
And is this Lincoln County of the '90s? No. But they're going down
The pit.
and to the pit and winning 31-17. That's something to be very proud of.
Colton Dooley, 31 carries, 213.
That's 2 games in a row.
He is toting the mail right now. Nolensville improves to 3-5. Summit, Old Sparty, 7-1, 5-0, sitting second in not just the mid-state polls, but the state polls in 5A.
That's awesome, well deserved, and they're at second in the polls because they're playing really, really good football, right?
I'm just glad that we had to stay tied with Columbia, who's lost 3 in a row. Let's be honest. They faced their first.
You were going to work that in there one way or the other, weren't you?
They faced adversity for the first time since the first week. And if we go back and rewind that to Spring Hill, Spring Hill's also lost 3 games in a row. Now, they're a good team. Lost fair and square. You had the big lead, you give it up. We didn't face adversity well. Shelbyville, you get a lead, they come back, kid throws for 1,400 yards in the game, breaks the record. What did he throw for? 600-plus yards.
Justin Lamb, who keeps the stats for Summit, he had him down for 606. Their coach turned in 602. Either way, it was over 600 yards, and it's a state record. It's a bunch of yards.
That's a bunch of yards. You give up that many, and you face adversity. I mean, this is a great test for them. This is that game that Coach Coleman and everybody else, including us, were a little bit nervous about. We knew that Shelbyville is one of those powerful teams that could score a lot of points. But what do? You face it, and you beat it. And that's what they needed. They needed a close game like that, and it wouldn't hurt to have 2 more games like that to get themselves ready for the playoffs. You got Centennial this week. That's not going to be an easy cakewalk. That's not going to be Popcorn City. Now, here's the thing. They go in, they're up 32-23 at the half. They give up 14 unanswered coming out of halftime. If you look at all year long, they have outscored their opponents 179-56. That's plus 123, Tate, in the first half. But the third quarter alone, they've only outscored their opponents plus 19. Now, there is some fool's gold stuck in there because either we've had a big lead and we didn't care as much coming out.
Right.
But that third quarter has kind of been the Achilles heel for Summit. Old Sparty needs to get in that third quarter and go ahead and get to that Popcorn City emotion and then let it roll.
First 4 minutes of the third quarter.
I'm sure Coach Coleman is taking notes right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he's watching on.
I'm just saying it's a common thread that we keep seeing. That third quarter, you got to come out.
Yeah.
That's a sign of a true team. You do not give that other team even the thought that they're in this game.
Yeah, well, and part of that could be, I don't think it was in this game, but part of that is some of these games, their number ones aren't out there when they come back in the third quarter.
That's right.
But yeah, a wise man that I believe in, he always said the first 4 minutes of the third quarter are most important.
Most important.
Of any game. But 600 here. So there's a couple things that go into that. One, you're right. They kept playing. But had the Summit offense not been scoring like they were, Shelbyville wouldn't have had the ball as much as they did. And the thing that I thought, what do I know? But the thing that I thought was most impressive was he threw for 606 yards, but he only threw for 4 touchdowns. So they were throwing the ball up and down the field. But then when they would get down there, it got tougher on them. I mean, that's what they do. They throw the ball.
Well, he threw for 600 yards, but Ty Carter, 248 yards on 23 carries. Odomegwu, 159, 407 combined. So just think, we scored we had a state record. We threw this, but we gave up 400 on the ground.
And we should have known it was coming. What was the score? I mean, this was the score. This was the game 70. Just last year where they scored 70, and combined it was over 100 points. So. And here's the thing I'm most excited about that game. Again, it's been 2 weeks, but I'm 95% on this. Jatavion Hayes took another 99, 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. That's the second time he's done that.
Keep kicking it deep, please.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing. If you don't get it to that goal line, he's got a chance. That kid, he obviously has a knack for that. Come playoff time, that's a heck of a weapon, man.
Well, Ty Carter right now, 1194 on the year. On 137 carries. Odomegwu, 751. He's 249 away from getting 1,000 yards rushing. Now think about last year. Ty Carter, first ever 1,000-yard rusher in Summit history, make the playoffs for the first time in history. This year, you've already got one across there staring at 1,500 in the face, and Odomegwu is 249 yards away. We got 2 games left in the regular season for him to get to 1,000. You'll have 2 1,000-yard rushers. Not only that, most importantly, forget adversity, forget what happened. A W is a W, Coach Coleman. A W is a W, and we love it. Region 5, 5A champions, first time in history.
That's unbelievable. Well-deserved. Congratulations. Not done yet. We talked at the beginning of this season at the
Forget
show.
the third quarter. I can hear him now. Third quarter, I don't care if we're minus 400.
That's right.
Region 5, 5A champions.
That's right. And only one loss in the season.
That's
at
right.
The beginning, that reminds me when you said that. When at the beginning of the season, we started talking about the number one thing they had to figure out was, I think it was 1,300 yards, all right, of those other guys outside of Ty. Remember that? We were talking about that. How are we going to make up? Obviously, we're not going to do it throwing every down. We got to find a way to make up 1,300 yards. Who's going to do it? Well, you just mentioned Odomegwu's over 700. I think Peyton Craig is over that 249 right now, and we got 2 more games.
So you're looking at there's your
1,300
yards
yards
right there. You're going to have potentially 2 and 1,000 yards, and one that could break the 300-400 yard range.
Yeah, he'll be close to 500.
And not only that, you're looking at possibly Ty even going up even more and getting and eclipsing 1,500.
It's impressive.
So
keep doing what you're doing.
Page 6-2 moves to 6-2, 3-1 in region play after they popcorn city'd White County 48-0.
Popcorn City playing really well. They've changed some things around, as we mentioned, on offense, and it's really it's made them better, right? You got to find a way to be able to get your athletes the ball. Obviously, they know how to get Will Pierce the ball. They know how to get Bubba Johnson the ball. Now they've got Van Landingham out there playing, really kind of a hybrid, and he's just another weapon. So, but 48-0, that's impressive. They're sitting here. How's Page going to do in 5A football? Well, 9 weeks in, they're 6-2.
3-1 in region play.
Pretty good.
Ravenwood 6-2 also, 3-1 in region play, played a team out of Kentucky, South Warren. They were worried about this. South Warren was ranked, had not lost a game in Kentucky. 31-17, big win for Raptors.
31-17. They had a couple of they had a Notre Dame commit, and they had a couple of other Power 5 commits. They had not lost. Coach Clayton, good friend of ours who used to be at Franklin, he's at Hopkinsville now, Hopkinsville, Kentucky. He had played them earlier and said, man, they're a really athletic, really good football team. And this Ravenwood team, golly, I don't think anybody's sleeping on them anymore. What they're doing right now is unbelievable. And to think they're 6-2, and they're 3-1 in the region. They lost by 3 week 1 to Centennial. Had a chance to win that game, and I hate to pick a scab for you, but the fake field goal against Father Ryan, they're literally 2 plays away from being 8-0. That's amazing. Sorry, brother.
Raptor fast. Can't sleep on them. I don't think they've gotten to the potential yet. I don't think they have gotten to that point yet. Stall Cup right now playing really well. Garcia's playing good. All those guys that got Andrew Mason. You know,
Well, and then you look at that's another thing that's been really neat. And that's a team. That's being a good teammate, right? So going into the season, Stahl Cup,
That's correct.
He's the senior. Garcia's the sophomore. They're battling for the quarterback position. They both do things differently. They both played quarterback all the way through. But when the passing game's going, it's usually been on Garcia. So what does Stahl Cup do? He's doing what I was talking about with Van Landingham. He's every time you pick up the paper in the morning to look up, he's rushed for 80 yards. Now, a lot of that's from the quarterback position. He's rushed for 80 yards. He's caught a pass for 36 yards, usually a touchdown, and he's passed for 50-something yards. That's a great teammate. That's a great leader. That's the kind of stuff you're going to need going into 6A playoffs.
and they have a chance to be Region 6, 6A champions, which we're fixing to
That's
get to, and it is an absolute mess, but it is a great mess. Something from my seat, I couldn't ask for anybody. You couldn't script this ending any better.
No. But who's the one team that controls their own destiny?
Centennial
Ravenwood.
and Ravenwood, but Centennial too.
I meant as
Centennial
far
wins.
as championship.
Centennial wins. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's in the books.
That's right.
Now think about that.
You talking about this? Wow.
So we'll get to
Let's
that in
get
just
to
a
it.
second. All right, Independence 4-4, CPA 5-2 came in. I'm going to be honest with you. We talked about Hillsborough being up and down. Independence up down, up down, up down. This is one of those games they did not play well. Cannot afford to not play well against a team like CPA. They get beat 55-20. What about Independence coming into the playoffs? We still got 2 weeks to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Obviously, this week's a non-conference game. They got Memphis East. That's not a pushover by any stretch of the imagination. But then you play for all the marbles come on 2 weeks from now, which we'll
Yeah.
get to. We'll talk about that in just a second.
well, let's put it this way. They got beat 55-20 to CPA, but they beat Hillsborough by 26 points. Who beat CPA?
It doesn't even make sense.
So it's like you just said, up, down. Which team shows up in week 10, week 11? Don't count them out. They're
That's the best thing
capable
about
of
the
winning
playoffs,
it,
right?
and they're capable of not
Especially,
winning.
it's like basketball. You got 3 seasons. You got before Christmas, after Christmas, and then tournament time.
Right.
Right? So here are the playoffs. You got 2 seasons. Take everything, throw it out, say, look, we're starting anew. I don't care what's happened up to this point. Let's circle the wagons. Let's get this thing going. If that can happen for Independence, go back 3 years ago. They came in at 500, 6-6. They did get beat by Hendersonville, a very good Hendersonville team
Right.
that year. We really thought that they would make a deep run. I think this is one of those teams that could potentially make a deep run and be a tough out.
Here's what I would say about this team. In the past, they were good enough to overcome turnovers and still win. This team is not. That's what got them against CPA, 5 turnovers.
You got to figure that out.
This team is good, but they're not good enough to overcome 3-4 turnovers in the playoffs.
Franklin versus Oakland. That the scheduling of that. Who could have foreseen that right there? Oakland right now number 1 in Region 6 across the state and every state poll that you have,
And they should be.
and they're undefeated right now. Who could have guessed that? Everybody thought they were going to lose a lot. Blackman was going to be the team to beat. Right now, Oakland is by far the team to beat in any classification, specifically 6A. Lost 41-7 to Oakland. Franklin right now 1-7, 0-4, looking for wins. I think they've got 2 in a row coming. Obviously, they got to play Spring Hill this week, and then you're looking at Dixon County to end the year on. But
Finish the season the best you can. They haven't quit on him. He hasn't quit on them, his staff. They really have. We need to go look at it. But if this isn't the toughest schedule in the state, it's one of them. But right now you're playing for, hey, these seniors, we got 2 more games. Let's make the most of those. And these younger guys, we got to start building towards next year.
well, 7-0 at the end of one. And in the words of Coach Webb, he said, they knew we were there. They were competing. That's all you could ask for them at this point in time. They were competing. So Franklin falls to 1-7. We mentioned earlier, Indy did beat Dixon 49-24 on the bye week that everybody was off. So let's get to the convoluted mess of Region 6, 6A. Here are the scenarios right now. The 2 games that are going to be played, you've got 4 teams. All 4 teams are in the playoffs, okay? 2 games last week of the year. This is 2 weeks. We're jumping forward just a little bit. Not this week, but next week. Independence plays Ravenwood. Centennial plays Brentwood. If Centennial beats Brentwood, it doesn't matter what happens.
Centennial's region
Centennial's region champions. If
Wow.
Centennial loses,
with a losing record.
if
Not in the
region
region,
play.
not in the region,
If
yeah.
Centennial loses, Centennial's either playing for the championship or they're playing for 4th place. Okay, that's one scenario.
Gotcha.
If Independence wins, and I said this wrong. Let me back up because I said if Independence wins and Centennial wins, Independence
Region champions.
region champions.
If Independence wins, Centennial loses, Brentwood or Independence?
If Independence win and if Brentwood wins and Independence wins, Brentwood is your Region 6 6A champions. If Ravenwood wins and Brentwood wins, Ravenwood is your Region 6 6A champions.
If Centennial loses.
Right.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, I mean, all 4 teams are playing for the championship.
That's
All the
pretty
thing
neat.
you can do is win. You can't worry about the other game. You got to win your game and hope that it comes out in your favor.
That's right.
So let's try that one more time. Centennial wins. Independence wins. Independence is your champions. Centennial wins. Ravenwood wins. Centennial is your champions. Ravenwood wins. Brentwood wins. Ravenwood is your champions. I hope everybody got that. Mr. Producer, put that down on the board somehow and show everybody. All right, here we go. Let's get to it. We're running out of time. Fairview 6-2 versus Ravenwood. I love this matchup. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's going to be fun. You know, Coach Hughes is going to have every trick book. He's going to throw it all at them. But, man, Ravenwood playing really good. I just think you're going to see. Here's the difference. The difference in 6A and 3A. Numbers, number of kids, Ravenwood
I'm going to make this prediction. Raptor Fast will know who Darius James is before the end of the game.
Without a doubt. I think it's only fair that if Fairview beats them, I think that the county athletic director must make an appearance at Snappy's.
I will be at
on
Snappy's.
Friday night.
If that happens, book it. Velvet ropes will be parted. I'm coming into Snappy's because you won't be able to get in that place if
So
it
who are you
happens.
picking?
Ravenwood. Raptor Fast is too fast for the jacket. Centennial versus Summit. Old Sparty going to Centennial. What do you think?
I'm going to go with Old Sparty, but I'm telling you now, it's closer than what people think.
I think this is
Summit's
gonna be
going to
a
win, but it's
dogfight.
going to be a good game.
I don't think this is-
And these two know each other really well. It's going to be neat.
I agree with you. I think Summit right now is the better of the 2 teams coming at this point in time. It's a good test for both of them getting ready for playoffs. But I think Old Sparty's a little too much. Brentwood versus Marshall County.
Brentwood, 3 touchdowns or more.
Almost Popcorn City.
Almost Popcorn City.
I'm going to call Popcorn City. I hope they
butter
get to
on
it.
it.
Yes. Nolensville versus Maplewood. Can the Visor pull it off one more time and get 3 in a row?
I learned my lesson with my Tullahoma pick. I never go against the Visor and I get roasted. I'm going with the Knights, man.
Tough game, man. Coming off bye week, all that. Man,
Colton Dooley, I think, is the difference.
Okay.
He's playing. He's healthy. He's playing really
You've
well.
convinced me. Knights win on this one. Page at Shelbyville.
I'm gonna go with Page, but you better watch that Summit film.
Yeah, you're going to have to watch that. Make sure you get ready in the secondary for all the passing. Page wins that one. Independence versus Memphis East. I believe Blade gets back on he extends his streak to 2 in a row this week.
Indy, not the same Memphis East team that won the state championship last year.
I agree. Franklin at Spring Hill. Spring Hill's lost 3 in a row. This will be 4 in a row. Franklin gets a much-needed win.
I agree. I think they get the win. You're right.
Well, I did gain ground on you last week. I went 9-0. You went 7-2. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure, Mr. Producer, what errors do we have this week?
Guys, not so much any errors. I'm not even going to touch those playoff scenarios. I don't know. I'm just hoping you guys are right. People can call in if they see anything there. But a few quick notes. That was homecoming that Nolens was spoiled for Lincoln County. That's a nice little note there.
Nice note.
One other stat from that Summit game, over 1,200 yards of total offense combined between both teams. That's crazy. And one standout from the Ravenwood game, Anthony McCarthy, linebacker, had both a fumble recovery and a block punt. So.
Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Producer.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. UT versus Alabama, Popcorn City.
With movie theater butter on it, and a box of goobers to go with them.
Week 9 going to be completed this week. Week 10 playoffs coming on the horizon.
Tyrell Dodson,
Oh, man.
game-winning interception against.
We don't even have
Florida
time
the
to
other
talk
night.
about
It
all
was
the
awesome.
guys, man.
It was
Tyrell
awesome.
Dodson, shout out to those guys. We'll talk about where they are next week, who all the WCS Sports Conference guys are playing at next week in the SEC. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.